Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System 22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, this is another in our series of Divi for Beginners videos. Today we're going to look at Divi's social media icon. Great way of getting people to your social media pages. Really easy to do, and we can make them sticky, have them stick on the side of our site like we've got there. We can put them down the bottom like we did here. If I roll down, we can create a scroll effect where they're on the page. We roll up, they'll stick to the top. And we touched on it the other day when we showed you how to build a global footer. We added some to our little global footer down here. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder. Let's go and delete all the ones I've got here and we'll start from scratch. Easiest way to do that is go to backend or wireframe view. Little icon on the left hand side there. It says wireframe view, will take you right here. There's one of them. We'll delete that one. We'll delete that one. I'll leave the actual section in there. And here's another one. We'll delete that one also. We've switched back to desktop or tablet or mobile, whichever view you like to build on. Great, those social media icons have disappeared now. I've got an empty section where that first one was there. So let's add one. I'm going to add a row here, a little green button to add a new row. Inside that row, I'm going to put a single column. Inside our column, funnily enough, I'm going to put our social media follow. Left click on it. By default, it puts in a Facebook and an X, and they have their default colors when you put them in there first. You can make them any color and style you want, and I'll go over that in a moment. And obviously, you're going to want to take people to your pages. So go into any of these. Choose your network right here, plenty to choose from. Put the link to your Facebook page or wherever it is you want to take them right there. By default, it's going to open this link in a new tab. Down below, we've got background. And like I said, it puts in the default color for these social media sites, but you can put in any color and style you want. And we'll style these up in a minute. Let's just add a couple more. So if we save this, it'll take us back to our main social media follow settings with our two little social medias up there. Add a new one, hit the little plus right here. Choose your network. Go Instagram perhaps. Put your link in. And let's do one more. Let's do LinkedIn. And we've got 4 little social media icons there. Obviously you can keep going, put in as many as you want there. I'm going to align mine to the middle right here. To do that, let's save. Go back to the main settings. We'll go over to design. Here's the alignment. Obviously, you can have it left. By default, it's there. Middle. And right. I'm happy for mine to be in the middle for the time being. Okay, so you set up your little social media icons here. And perhaps you want them to be more in line with the colors of your website and perhaps a different styling. To do that, let's go back to our content right here. Let's go into any one of these you want and we'll style them all exactly the same. Let's go into the Facebook now. I'm going to go down to the background and I'm going to change it into this sort of default blue that we've been using throughout our site here. And that's right there. Now you can put any color you want in here. Just click on the color field. You can put in a hex color or RGBA, whatever you want there. But I'm happy with that. I'm going to make them all that size. Let's go over to our design now. And here you can choose the icon color. That's the F or the X or the little camera icon there. For instance, if I change it to red, you'll see it change to red. Remember, we're working on just the Facebook one at the moment. You can use a custom icon size if you want to make it bigger or smaller. Then you can slide up, type in a value, whatever you want. Let's say, let's try 20. I think that'll work for me. Obviously, you make yours however you wish. Now, there's a follow button here. If I go into there, you can actually have a little button underneath and style it here. If I just save this and go back to the main social media follow settings, we can go down to icon. And there's a follow button. You can turn on or off. They'll be to the side of your little Facebook there, or you can put it underneath it if you shrink them down. I'm not going to have the follow button. They can just click on there to follow you and click on here to go to your site. I'd rather have them go to the side. So I'm going to turn that back off. But if you want it on, switch this on. And in the design, you've got a follow button. Custom styles, you can make it any color, shape, size you want there. But like I say, I'm happy not to have that. So I'm going to switch that back off. Great. Well, let's go back into our Facebook where we were. We were over in design. We looked at the follow button. Spacing. In spacing, we've got margin and padding. If you want more space between these things, add a bit of margin to the right-hand side. Let's say 30 pixels. And as you can see, it spreads them out if you want to spread them out a bit more. If you want to tighten them up, put a 0 in there. It's going to get them as tight as they will go. But you can give them a negative value with margin that you can't with padding, so you can get them touching if you want to. I'm actually happy with the default there. Works for me fine. And as with Divi, if you do something you don't like it, just select it, delete it. It'll go back to the default for you. Now padding's the inside. I wouldn't mind making that a bit bigger, but a little bit more space for the F there. Let's try giving it 12 pixels on top, see what happens. Yeah, it's going to be a bit too much. We'll say 10. And we'll give it that all round. By hitting the chain, it'll do the opposite side. If we do the same for left and right, and hit the chain, it'll do left and right. And then you can increment up and down. Let's take that back down to 7 or something like this. And if you've got the chain checked, it does both sides at once for you. Fantastic. Well, that's shaping up. It's the color we want it. If you want to, I kind of like my social medias to be round. I don't know why, but that's entirely up to you. If we go into border down below, we've got rounded corners here. By default, it puts in a 3 pixel rounded corner, which is a little round. If you up that to say 20 pixels, it'll be more round. If you want it to be completely round, like a circle, which is what I want here, select that 20 pixels and type in 50%. Put the percent sign on the end, and it'll be perfectly round just like that. And that's exactly what I want. That's going to work perfectly for me. If you want to put a physical border on it down below, we've got border styles. You can do all at once, top, right, bottom, and left. Now on a circle, that would be kind of difficult, but it would do it. I'm going to do all 4 at once. Give it a border width. Once you start giving it a border width, you'll see it come in there as I'm putting it in there. See, now it's got a 4 pixel black border around it. I'm happy to leave mine as is. So I'm going to delete that. And down below, you can choose your border color, obviously. If you want to, you can add a little bit of box shadow to it. Always think that's a nice touch. Lifts it off the page just a little bit. It's fairly subtle, but gives it a slight 3D look. And you can change your horizontal, vertical positions, blur strength and spread here, and get some crazy effects going. We've done a lot of these working on dark backgrounds using a bright color for a sort of neon background light effect. It works wonderfully, and we'll show you a lot more of that in future videos. Now at the moment the shadow's on the outside, which is where I'd prefer it, but if you want to, you can put it on the inside. It's got a little shadow up there. Again, that gives it a bit of contour, makes it look kind of 3D. I'm happy for mine to be on the outside. Okay, we did a whole video on filters. I'm not going to use any filters on this today. You can get some crazy effects, color effects and things like that. Have a look at our filters video if you want to learn more about that. They are a really great feature. Okay, not going to use transform. I'll do a whole video on transform where we can move things around and get some crazy spinning hover effects and things like that. But I'm not going to use it on this particular one today. So once you're happy and you've got your first one done, don't worry, you don't have to go through all these and do exactly the same thing. What we can do is save what we've got there by hitting the green check mark. Back to the main social media follow settings. I'm going to right click on that Facebook that we've got sorted now. Oh, in fact, actually, I want to do one more thing before we do that. I'm going to have it have a different hover color. So let's go back into our Facebook there. I forgot to do this just now. Content, background's always under content. Here's the blue color. Let's have a different color, perhaps when they hover over it. Now we still want a color that's going to be nicely visible all over our different layers here. So to create a color hover effect, roll up to the dark writing, you'll see some little icons appear. And this is common to all Divi modules. Once your icons are up there, if there's a little arrow, we can create a hover effect. Just click on the arrow, it'll bring up two tabs. Desktop, that's when your mouse is not on it, and a hover, that's obviously when your mouse is on it. So let's click on the hover tab, and we can give it a completely different color. Just for argument's sake, I'm going to give it a purple. I'm not sure that's going to work too well. So we've got purple on hover, and we got that default blue when they're not hovering over it. Now the time it takes by default with Divi to go from one to the other is 300 milliseconds, which is pretty quick, just under a third of a second. If you want to slow it down or even speed it up, you can do that in any module. And this is all common to every module. Over in Advanced, down to Transitions. There's the default 300. If you want to slow it down some, just slide the slider up. Or you can type in a value, and you can increment up and down with the little arrows, fine tune there. Well, I'm going to have mine maybe 500 mils, half a second. Don't want any delay, want it to happen as soon as they put their mouse on it. We're on the hover state at the moment, obviously. Transition speed curve I tend to use for my hover effects. It's ease in, ease out. They all work, but this one works for me because when they take their mouse back off of it, it kind of eases back out and I like it. Great. So I'm fairly happy with that. Let's go back to our color here. And flip it back to desktop. It doesn't really matter. Like I was saying, once you've done the first one, you don't have to go through this all again. Let's save our changes on our first one that we like there, the Facebook one. Then I can right click on it using the right mouse button there. And I'm going to say extend item styles. And I wanted to extend it to this row that we've got it in. Everything in this row, I want to have that styling. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to say this row. Hit extend. Bam. We've got 4 buttons with our nice styling there. Fantastic. Now you can decide where you want to put them, and you can put them anywhere you want. My suggestion would be, let's just say this. If you want them to appear on every page, put them in your footer or your header. And we've not done a video on custom headers. There's one coming up, but we did do a custom footer the other day. And we did some social media icons here. And I'll show you when I do the positioning, I'll do it with this as well. If you want it on every page and you can position it left, right, top, bottom, however you want, we'll use this for that example. But let's go back up. Like I say, if you want it on every page, I'd build it into your global footer. But I'm going to go back up. Where were we? Now let's play with this one. Let's say we want it on the left-hand side, and perhaps we want to stack it vertically. Well, to make it go vertical, what we've got to do is shrink up the row to about the size of the icons, and they'll all fall on top of each other. So let's do that. I'm going to go into my row, and for this positioning, I'm working with the row, not the module. So it tends to work better with the row itself. Let's go into this row, the green tab for the row. I'm going to go to design and go down to sizing, and let's shrink it down until they drop on top of each other. We can do that with width. It's got a pixel value. It's got a percentage value in there by default. I'm going to put in, let's say 50 pixels. PX, 50 in the PX. That's pretty much done it. They've stacked on top of each other. Great, because the row is now only 50 pixels wide. But of course, I don't want them sticking in the middle of my page there. I want them to be maybe up here somewhere. That's entirely up to you, because I've already got something on this side over here, the little email icon there. So again, common to all Divi modules, we're in the row, remember? So let's go over to Advanced. If we roll down, we've got Position down here. It puts it on Relative there. We're going to change it from Relative to Fixed. And it's scooted it up under our header up here. You've got a little matrix or grid here where you can scoot it around your site, put it where you want it. So let's put it back up there. I'm going to offset it. I want to bring it down some. So it's about there. Now, here's something interesting. It's going behind this little section that's behind it here, or below it here, I should say. I'll show you how to fix that in a minute with Z-index. But let's leave it up there at the moment. That's kind of where I want it. Let's have it out from the side a little bit, horizontal offset. Maybe 5 pixels, something like that. 6. Now here's the z-index I was talking about before. Z-index dictates what elements appear on top of other elements. For instance, if you've got two elements, like this social media, this row below, if this social media has got a z-index of 10, and the row below has a z-index of 11, if you slide this down over the row is going to be on top. Whatever has the highest number is going to be on top. So if I roll this down, you see those are disappearing behind this section here. So this section's obviously got a higher z-index, or it might be the row, I think it's the section, than our social media row there. So let's slide it down so it's half disappeared, and we'll slide the z-index up until it appears, like that. Slide it all the way down your site, make sure it's going to appear on top of everything. The only thing it won't appear on top of is the footer when we get down there. It'll disappear behind there, but it's not going quite that far down. That's fine. Great. So let's save that. And that's going to appear sticky on all devices. You'll have it on the left-hand side, right about there. If I switch over to tablet mode, you'll see they're over there. And let's switch over to mobile. And there we are on mobile. They're on the side. For mobile, I might decide to put them on the bottom. Have them down here somewhere. And that's really easy to do also. Let's go back to our desktop mode. Great. Well, I'll show you how to stick them to the bottom. It's exactly the same thing. We just need to make this row wider again so they're spread out horizontally. So let's go back into this row. In design, sizing, change this back to how it was. You remember how to do that? Just select it, delete it. It'll go back to the default, and there they are up there. Now it's still in fixed position, so they're going to stay exactly there. If we go back to positioning over here, we can now position them perhaps middle bottom. Take that vertical offset away. And they're right on the bottom there, right behind my little purple button. And they'll stay there at all times. Another great thing you can do with these is use them on a scroll. You can put them on a certain position on your site and have them scroll up like we demoed earlier on. So to do that, I'm going to unstick this. I'm going to put it back into the default position. We roll up wherever it was I put it, right there. I think I want it further down the page so we can scroll with it. I'm going to move this whole row. Let's just save this. I'm going to move this whole row, little handle right there. Move it down behind this big image perhaps so it's more central. Okay, what I want to happen is I'm going to leave those there. When they scroll down the page, those are going to come up. But when it gets to the top of the page, I want them to stay just under my header there. As they scroll down the rest of the site, I want them to stay there, and then when they scroll back up, I want it to go back down to where it was. Very easy to do. Let's go back into our row. Again, I'm using the row for this, green tab. We're actually going to go over to the advanced. Down at the bottom, you've got scroll effects. If we click on it, we can set all kind of different effects for vertical motion, horizontal motion, fading in and out, scaling up and down, rotating or blurring, and I'll do a whole video on this. You can get some great effects. Okay, sticky position. I want it to stick to the top, just under our header there. So if I do this, click on it, stick to top. It's going to stick to the top, just under our header there, and you can use a bit of vertical offset to place it closer if you want to. You can stick it to the top and the bottom if you want to. If I stick it at the top and the bottom, when I roll up, it'll stick to the top. When it gets back to its original position, it's going to go down and it'll stick to the bottom there. That's a quite nice little feature. So that's going to work on desktop and mobile right there. Like I say, you've got sticky bottom offset here, sticky top offset to position how you wish. You can give it a top sticky limit, a bottom sticky limit. You can stick it top, bottom, and as we've got it, stick to top and bottom here. Top sticky limit, you can use a section or a body area. Let's give it bottom sticky limit of perhaps the section that it's in. So it's sticking to the bottom. Let's roll up to the top here. When it gets to the bottom of the section, it's going to go back up like that. So fix it how you want it, and you're good to go. I'm going to leave that to unlimited, none, so it can stick to its heart content and just roll around the original position that we put it there. Great. Okay, last thing is what I mentioned earlier. If you want this to appear on every page, which you probably do with your social media icons, you want to build it either into your footer or into your header. I'm going to save this little module to my library. It's the quickest way to do this. I'm going to do it with the actual row itself right here. Little icon right there, just to the left of the trash can. If we click on it, add row to library. I'll just call it S Media. I'm going to hit my save to library, and it's saving it. Let's go down now to our footer. Hit the edit footer template. And once we've done that, I could hit the little green button to add a new row. I'm going to add it from my library. There it is, S Media. I click on that. Say use this row. It's now put that row on the bottom. And let's put it in the position that we want it. I think I liked it over on this side over here. So to do that, we know how to do that. We go into the row. We're going to shrink it up so those are vertical. Design tab down to sizing. Width. I think I did 50 px, wasn't it? PX, 50 px. Great, they're stacked where we want them there. We can go to positioning over in the advanced tab. We're going to make them fixed position. At the moment they're on the bottom, I want them at the top left, and I'm going to scoot them down with my vertical offset to where I want them. In fact, if I roll up to the top of the page, I kind of wanted them in the middle of that dark bar up there. Let's scoot down a little bit more. Whoops. We'll scoot down a little bit more to where we want them. That works. Horizontal, let's bring it back to where they were. I want about 3 px from the side. Got a few too many there. Let's put it. Let's make it 5 px. That'll work. That's great. So that's actually in our footer, but it's going to appear to the left-hand side of all our pages here. So let's save this. We'll save the page changes. And exit the visual builder. And if I roll down, we've got our sticky social medias that we just created right there. We've still got the scrollers on this particular page that are going to stick to the top and to the bottom. If we scroll back the other way, I'll go down and stick to the bottom. It's fine. But if I go to a different page now, I've got another page open here. There's no social medias on there. Now we've added them to our footer now. So if I refresh this page, we've got our social medias on this page because they're built into the footer. And of course, the footer is on every page. If we scroll down to the footer, because we made this fixed positioning, there's no real difference that you can see to the footer there. So there you go, guys. There's an overview of using the social media follow module from the great Divi theme. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, pop them below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo video like this one. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignertechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.